Well, the odds of a fourth stimulus check just increased. And this is a video I did not expect making whatsoever because the economy has been recovering slowly but surely. At first it recovered more quickly and then it's kind of flattened off a little bit. But more recently, a few new reports have come out and the odds of a fourth stimulus check as a result of these reports has definitely increased. So let's cover everything that we know so far, the new news here, and then what may happen in the future. So coming up to this, there are a lot of groups, a lot of legislators, a lot of individuals who want a fourth stimulus check. There's still actually a push for that recurring fourth stimulus check. I don't know if it's recurring or reoccurring, whatever it is, they want stimulus checks every single month. And there are Democratic House members who have written a letter to the Biden administration a couple months back, basically citing some research studies and saying, hey, this helps child poverty, increasing the unemployment boost helps out, and the reoccurring stimulus checks would be pivotal in order to help the economy get back on track. And then some House Senate members did the exact same thing, sent a letter to Biden and the White House administration saying, we want reoccurring stimulus checks. And then certain economists have done similar things as well. However, as time has passed, the overwhelming desire for a fourth stimulus check has definitely waned. Because if we go back 6 months ago, basically everyone and their mother was all for a fourth stimulus check. However, now if you look, there's people who are like, I don't know if we should spend any more money. We might overheat the economy. Economists are kind of wondering if it's a good idea to spend more, or should we just do the McConnell method and just kind of wait and see for a bit and just see how things pan out, because maybe just every month is not, it doesn't always have to be a record-breaking month or a month of progress. There might be some ups and downs along the way, and maybe we don't need to spend a couple $1 trillion. So there's actually opinions across the board now, and rightfully, I think it's a good idea to have a big group of people who are concerned. That way there's actually people looking at the issues. If everyone is all on one page, we're definitely missing out on stuff over here. So it's good to have conflicting opinions. I'm not here to say one opinion is right or wrong, but we have a new report here on the unemployment data, and it's not looking very good. And if you've listened to my videos in the past, if you haven't, welcome. My name is Maher. I cover all things news that make you money. So just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So we talked about in the past where if the unemployment rate doesn't get better, if we're not hanging around the low 5% to high 4% by the end of the year and trending in that direction, we're very likely to see an increased odds of stimulus payments. And that's kind of what's happening. So payrolls rose in the last month. However, they only rose 266,000 jobs, which was far from the estimation. So here we have on Bloomberg, it says payrolls rose 266,000 from a month earlier, according to the Labor Department report on Friday that represented one of the largest downside misses on record. And here we have this graph that shows, it bottomed out at about December, and then it started eking its way back up. March was pretty good. It looks like about 800,000 jobs. And the estimation for April was 1 million jobs, and it was only 266,000. Far below that mark. Now, there's a lot of concerns. There's opinions across the board ranging from, we can't celebrate our win yet, to business owners complaining that unemployment is making it impossible to hire new people. All across the board, ranging from we absolutely need more funding to we should not spend any more funding. And I mean, as a business owner myself, I can say that it has been extremely hard to hire people, but of course I don't want to point any blame. I don't know what people's individual situations are. All I know is that it is hard to hire people right now. It's harder than usual. It's a hard thing to do all the time, and it's just a little bit more hard right now. But beyond this, the actual unemployment rate, pull this up, we can see it was very high a year ago. We were sitting at just about 15% a year ago. I think the real unemployment rate was probably higher than that because these numbers get a little bit fuzzy. And then we went down, we're at 6.2% in February, and it was inching downwards. And then in March, we were at 6.0%. It's like, okay, we might break that into the fives here. And this kind of might be the push that we need. The consumer confidence would go up. Things would get generally better if we got into that 5 mark and then eventually into the 4 mark. And then it went back up to 6.1. So we're kind of trending in the wrong direction. Of course, it's not the biggest increase ever. It's not the biggest concern ever, but of course it's not trending in the right direction. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the #1 marker that legislators are going to look at to make sure that the economy is on track, and they keep an eye on this more than anything else to determine, hey, do we need more stimulus payments in all forms, direct checks, extending the unemployment boost beyond early September, where they're set to expire right now, maybe more on the child tax credit, because as of right now, this is what we have. We have Biden's infrastructure bills coming out, and there are no direct checks as of now in those bills. However, there are ways that you can receive payments, like the expanded child tax credit, which is between $3,000 and $3,600 per child per year, and they would expand that for 5 years. There may be increases to unemployment benefits. There are tax credit increases and just many other ways that you can get additional money in your pocket, even though it may not be like an actual check, just like boom, pay whatever you want with this check. As of right now, however, this unemployment data may change that up, especially if we see in another month from now, where if it bumps from 6.1% to 6.2 or 6.3%, that's when there's going to be a big cause for concern. And even on this, the stock market has kind of reacted just slightly, because the stock market has not been doing great in the last couple of weeks, but because the unemployment rate went up, it's kind of interesting, stocks went up a little bit, because now there's a little bit more anticipation that there could be more fiscal stimulus, which helps out stocks. So the stock market is actually kind of anticipating more stimulus here. Of course, that's not a guarantee. That's just kind of like, you can think of the stock market as a bunch of investors voting on what the most probable outcome is, and they're not always right, but it did just tick up a little bit because of this information. Now, beyond this, there's even more push. I just came across this change.org petition. I'll have it linked down in the description if you're interested in signing it yourself. But it's a petition for $2,000 per month stimulus checks for every American, it says. And they have a goal of 3 million people to sign it. I was surprised 2.1 million people have already signed this. I mean, 3 million people, that's 1% of the entire country signing this petition. Like I said, I'll have that link down in the description. But I mean, this goes to show there actually is there are a lot of people who really want this to happen. There are mostly Democratic legislators who want this to happen. It's really hard to find a Republican legislator who wants this to happen. But there is a push for this, for more stimulus payments. A reoccurring check, I think that's kind of unlikely. I think if we were to see another stimulus payment, it would very likely just be another flat check, around $1,000, basically what we have seen. Maybe they would even do another smaller one, $500-$600, something like that. It's of course not something that you want to bank on, that your bills are going to be paid by this, but there seems to be, that momentum moving towards this kind of thing yet again. So taking in all this information into account, what exactly can we expect? I don't think anything will happen until probably a month from now. Like I said earlier, if a month from now the unemployment rate goes up again from where we're sitting right now, from 6.1% to 6.2, 6.3%, then I think legislation will start being drafted. I think going from an uptick of 6.0 to 6.1, gets that on their radar, but doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a bill on the floor tomorrow. Sound the alarms, because it did go up, but it went up. It was just a slight bump. It's like, let's say you're on a weight loss journey, and every single day you're losing 1/4 of a pound, and then one day you go up a pound. It doesn't mean you should just quit your weight loss journey. It's just a little road bump in the way. That's kind of how I'm looking at this. But if it's a continued trend, if businesses still are not able to hire to the level that they need, and we also have the supply chain issue, which is kind of limiting businesses right now, where so many necessary supplies in order to build stuff just aren't there. And this is kind of creating this bottleneck issue where, supply and demand equation, this is bumping up inflation, plus we have additional money in the system floating around. So there's a lot of just factors that, I think will pan out more in about a month from now, and the biggest one being that unemployment rate. So if you're ever curious, hey, is there going to be another stimulus check? That is a figure you absolutely want to take a look at. Unemployment rate, consumer confidence, GDP, those are the biggest things you want to look at when it comes to, will there be another stimulus check? And of course, if there's actually a bill on the floor or being debated in committees for more stimulus payments, letters to Biden, things like that. But if you subscribe to this channel, you don't even have to do the digging. All you have to do is subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and you'll be up to date with all news that makes you money. So that's going to do it for today. Make sure you check out the links in the description for some free stocks, some free cryptos, some alerts for a school that I have coming out very soon. There's some exciting stuff going on. So I would like to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.